You serious?
So this is How to Kill an Hour. Welcome to How to Kill an Hour, the show where we like to look for new ways to kill time. My name is Marcus Bronzy. In just a moment, I'm going to introduce you to our guest. But first things first, I want to shout you out, the listener. All right. Hello to Lauren, Ashley Hill, Canalot Studios, Ola A, Jennifer Lake, Tex Sumatra, Josh Brandon, Andy Edmonds, Small Films UK, Screwed, and Stefan Powell, who is a guest on an episode forthcoming. Also, a massive shout out to Apple Podcasts. Why? Because if you open the Apple Podcast app today and look at it, you will see a massive sign that says How to Kill an Hour, because one of our episodes, namely the one with Jazzy Jeff, is front and center. So yeah, that's the Apple Podcast app or iTunes, or if you own an Android, shame on you. Anyway, coming up on today's show, we are joined by a comedian who I just want to say I like the angle that you take on things. Mr. Ed Gamble.
Hello.
Welcome to the show, Ed.
Thank you very much for bigging up my angle. I
think your angles is something we're going to get into at some point.
All right, nice.
But before that, though, how are you feeling after the London Marathon? It's just happened a few days ago. Yeah. I believe you partook in it.
I did partake in it. I currently can't really walk downstairs without wincing. Really? Upstairs seems to be all right, but.
So what muscle is that? Is that the glutes? What's downstairs? Is it the calves?
It's all of them.
All of them.
It's according to the pain that shoots through my legs. It's every single muscle.
I gotta be honest. Things like marathons, I love hearing about from other people. I'm like, oh, that's so good. Well done, charity. The people that you help. The way you must feel afterwards, and everyone's like, so your marathon, Marcus. I'm like, nah,
no,
mate, you're
not interested. It's an amazing atmosphere on the day, though.
Yeah.
I think there were people there who I met a guy just before who was like, "Have you trained for this?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Oh, I haven't. I tried to put it out of my mind." And he still finished it, but he just did it in about 7 hours.
Yeah, fuck that. Doesn't that just make you even more fucked up if you don't train your body at all?
Oh, yeah. I think he's in hospital now.
Yeah.
But
do you know what? We've got one of our presenters, Dev, actually, right? He's actually got freakishly, generically great genes. So he's just good at everything.
Yeah.
No risk of any sort of chronic diseases, anything like that. And he literally doesn't train, goes and does a marathon in an all right time, feels a little bit painful afterwards. Everyone else I've met trains for months and then afterwards are like, pretty much hospitalized.
I think some people are built for running. Like the comedian Ivo Graham, I think, had never done any running and then just decided that he was going to start and did a marathon and did it in 3 hours 10.
Dickheads.
Yeah.
Hate people like that.
I have to properly train and it still feels like I'm pushing a big cart of meat around.
Yeah. Was this your second one that you done?
Second one.
How was it compared to the first?
I enjoyed it more. It was slower, but I enjoyed it more. But I think it was slower as well because I was just soaking up the atmosphere.
Okay. Did you enjoy it more because you did it slower as well?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe I just didn't go flat out for the first bit. I just really paced it properly.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was a guy dressed as Big Ben going for a world record attempt, and I think this is quite against the spirit of the marathon, but I made it my mission to beat him.
Did you beat Big Ben?
Yeah. I did. On the last stretch, there's actually, my girlfriend's found the live feed from the BBC cameras, and you can see me overtaking Big Ben. And in my head, I was running that last mile flat out, like sprinting. And then you look at it, and honestly, it looks like I'm walking.
Really?
Yeah. I so slowly overtake a man dressed as Big Ben. It's pathetic.
Was he quite tall?
Yeah, he's the guy who couldn't get over the finish line.
I feel so sorry because, mate, we understand, Mr. Big Ben, whoever you are, you were trying your best to kind of make a big statement. And it was a shame. Sorry, I just can't get over the fact that the top of his tower head-butted.
The top of it, he hadn't thought that the tower was too big to get through the finish line.
Surely somebody would have thought about clearance.
Because when we were coming around the corner, they have all the cameras on. You can see the big screen, and there's the feed that's going on the TV. Yeah. And every time the camera came to him, I was behind him, so I didn't get on the big screen for the last bit.
Jeez,
livid. So he deserved that. He deserved everything he got.
So you get for showing off?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So you're doing this during your touring. So you're doing your marathon training and your marathon during your tour. How does that affect doing live shows and having to run thousands, hundreds of miles?
It was tricky. It's just about scheduling, really. I managed it, but there was a few shows where I was, waddling a little bit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, I'm not caning it up and down the stage like McIntyre, so I'd imagine if you're that energetic, you couldn't train for a marathon.
I would have thought you would have factored that in, I need to pick up 5 miles, let me just go McIntyre.
Yeah, exactly, to start doing laps. Yeah, maybe that's the way to do it next time. I hadn't thought about that. Or have an ice bath on stage or something. But yeah, it worked out all right. I managed to schedule it around it. Wasn't too bad.
Not bad. And with the marathon training and stuff, ice baths and all that sort of stuff, physio, stretching.
Massages, sports massages.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of those. They were great. I love that. I love having an excuse to go to a sports massage, even though it's basically someone beating the shit out of you for an hour.
Yeah.
Well, I tried a couple of ice baths for cramps, but that's horrible. I think you're supposed to sit in them for 20 minutes. I literally put a toe in and just like, absolutely not.
20 minutes?
Oh, I don't know. Whatever it is, I
Anything
did
longer
short.
than 5 seconds is
it's
unreasonable.
Awful.
Yeah.
So it feels like such a waste of ice as well. Then you try and have a drink and you're like, oh no, I sat in that last week. It's terrible. I tried one after the marathon as well. I think I lasted about 12 seconds.
Yeah, forget that.
Straight out. Have to have a hot shower.
Is it true? Is it true some people have a beer as well? Is that like a thing? You can have a beer after a marathon. It's like got electrolytes in it. I saw something.
Guinness.
Is it a Guinness?
So Guinness is. I don't know if it's recommended. I think that's probably like basically a sports nutritionist who is also an alcoholic was like, I've got to find a way around of making this sound justified. So I did. I had a Guinness after the marathon. Because apparently it's got all the vitamins you need for although probably a glass of water is best.
Nah, I reckon a couple of Guinnesses as well.
I had one yesterday as well. I'm slowly rebuilding my vitamins over the next 6 months by drinking Guinness every day.
That's good. You got to carry on going actually until Christmas, because that is where you need to reach the peak of your vitamin intake, because we all know you're not very nourished at that time of year.
Well, I'll be having a lot of Guinness at Christmas as well, so that's fine.
Oh, good stuff. Are you a Guinness fan? Is that your go-to when you go to the pub?
Used to be. I used to drink Guinness like water, like I really would. I used to work in a pub, and after hours at the pub, we just used to sit and drink Guinness for hours. So I think I made a subconscious decision to cut Guinness out of my life for a while because I was just drinking too much Guinness.
Yeah.
But I had one yesterday, and a pint of Guinness there's nothing better.
When I go to the How to Kill an Hour pub drinking podcast, when I go to the pub, like the first thing that I want to have is a Guinness. Like, wherever I'm finishing the night with, it's probably, in a corner, throwing up into my own shoe. But no, the first thing I like to start my night with is a pint of Guinness. I feel like it just gets things going.
It's so refreshing.
Yeah, man.
Nothing, I mean, I'd have a couple of Guinness now. I couldn't drink more than 2 Guinness. Because that is a meal in a glass as well, isn't it? Yeah,
I mean, you start to feel it around the middle after a few of those, isn't it? Yeah. So a Guinness and then straight onto the clear stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Gin and tonics all the way. So the tour, how's the tour going, man?
Really well, thank you. And sort of wrapping up the first leg of the tour, really. So I think I've done about 45 dates this year so far. And that was supposed to be it, but it's done pretty well. So we're doing more in the autumn now as well, starting in October.
Nice.
Doing another like 30 something. So yeah, it's exciting.
Shit, that's quite a lot. So 45 in, you're feeling nice and warm with the material then. So
I mean that's 45 dates on the national tour, but I did it 30 times in Edinburgh. Did it, previewed it 35 times. So I'm well into this material now. It's got to the point where I know it so well that I'm riffing around it and finding new angles on it and there's the angles again, finding new ways of talking about it. Yeah.
Promised you, didn't we?
And it's just, it's got so tight over the last few dates that I can now loosen it up again.
Nice.
So
and so Gamble's Angles,
there you go.
So for this show, like where are you taking it then? Like what are you doing differently to last shows?
Well, it's normally with my shows the way it goes is you always get asked about what's the theme of the show.
What's your theme?
What's the theme of what's the overarching theme? It's like, I've always sort of resisted that because I'm not a playwright, I'm a comedian. So there's loads of things in it. There's loads of stories about my life. There's a really long story about my dad buying a cat. It's just, it's stupid stuff. It's pretty lighthearted.
Fair enough.
And like I say, it's loose as well. There's a lot of audience interaction. It's like, I'm not handling any heavy topics.
Good. I think this 2019, April/May, I think it's important to have people like yourself that aren't covering things that are very deep. We need some light-hearted comedy out there.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there's loads of amazing comics who handle heavy topics incredibly well, but that's not me, so I'm not going to start pretending that I can do that. I think that's the most toe-curling thing when you see someone doing something that's clearly not the right fit for them. So.
Yeah, I think as a consumer of comedy or any kind of entertainment, I go in to just be taken away from the world I'm in right now, so I like that kind of stuff. I was trying to find the name for your tour. Like you kind of said that you
Blizzard.
Blizzard tour. Thank you. So Blizzard tour. So you said there's not a theme, right? But when I was looking for the name, I saw Blizzard, and I was kind of like, well, so what is that?
So then? Blizzard, that relates to one of the stories in the show. which is about beginning of last year now. It was me and 3 other comedians went to New York, and there was a big blizzard and all the flights got grounded.
Yep.
It made the BBC News.
Great.
So that's one of the stories. That's one of the stories in there. But also, my last few tours, I just picked one word tour. So I've done blizzard, mammoth, stampede. Those are the last 3. I just pick words that I like, that sound cool, and that try and sum up the energy of the show. Because you have to pick the title when you don't know what's in it.
Yeah.
So I mean, massive kudos to people who know what they're gonna talk about at the beginning of the year when they're doing the show in August. But I just pick a word that tries to sum up the energy of the show.
So you can be like, well, I called it that, and that word is in the show.
Yeah.
There you go. Knew what I was doing.
I say blizzard at the top because I say this is my show. It's called Blizzard, so it's relevant. Can't get me on that.
Job done. You're a Southwest London lad, I believe you.
No, I wouldn't call myself a lad.
Okay, sorry, a Southwest London gentleman.
Thank you.
So, how much of your comedy would you say is like London centric, or are you quite UK centric with it now?
No, I think I like to tour, so there's nothing really in there that I'm like, I can't do that because we're outside London. Yeah. It's pretty relevant to across the UK.
All right,
I'd say.
Fair enough.
I don't know what my my angle on Southwest London would be anyway, because you say Southwest London, it's pretty like middle class. Like it's not. I don't think it's particularly relevant for most people in the UK, to be honest with you. Go, hello, I grew up in Wimbledon. Don't you just hate it when your hometown's busy because of the tennis tournament?
Don't you hate it when your cleaner moves your rackets around? Yeah. I know what you mean. But I mean, at the same time, I feel like you're kind of in a nice middle ground where you can kind of connect with people, gentlemen, and also lads as well. I feel like it's a mix, man.
No, I think my audience is very mixed, I'd say, which is great. Like some comedians have a particular type of audience; they appeal to a certain sort of section of society. But no, I see all types of people. A lot of couples, actually.
Really, you're a couples comedian.
I'm a love comedian.
Hey. Cheers, Ed. You got me laid. So, when you meet your audience, what are they like? Because I found that I asked this question quite a few times to comedians, and they either have stories that go, yeah, all right, or they pull something funky out the bag. So what have you got for us? What are your fans like when you meet them, Ed?
They're normally all right. I try and avoid it at all costs, really. When the working day is done, I'm straight out the back door and into the car.
Straight for the Guinness.
Yeah, exactly. Straight for the Guinness in the car. I'm not driving. No, they're normally pretty sound, to be honest.
Yeah.
They're always pretty sound. They're just, they want a photo, want to say thanks for the show, and then... Cool. I say thank you so much for coming. I probably look too desperate when I say thank you. I'm like, seriously, thank you.
Thanks so much.
It's genuine. I need you. Please stay.
Please follow me on Twitter.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Follow me. Come back next year.
Yeah. All right, nice, man. We will get back to the show, but something that's kind of come up quite a lot on all of our social medias, and we get asked quite a lot how to kill an hour, is about Game of Thrones. I'm not... Sorry if I piss anyone off in the room. I'm not a Game of Thrones watcher.
That's fine.
Are you into Game of Thrones at the moment?
Massively.
I understand there's like episode 3 of the new season.
Of season 8, yeah.
What the fuck's going on? Like, can you help me?
Well, look, I can't help you. Look, I like the way you put that you're not... You don't watch
honest.
it and you're being honest and you're fine with it. What I hate is people who are like, wear it as a badge of honour, who go like, well, I've never seen an episode of Game of Thrones. It's like, well, I don't care. Then I don't want to talk to you about Game of Thrones. It's not that. It's fine. Don't watch it or don't watch it. But you can't be proud of not doing something.
Oh, bro, I've met like I've met the converse. So I was out the other day and I said it like, look, I've never watched it. And someone was like, what do you mean you haven't watched it? I've watched all of the seasons twice in preparation and a recap. I'm like, it's not really for me, and literally almost turned into an argument. Not from me. This person was like going to me, you need to make sure you catch up. And I'm like,
but it isn't for everyone. Like I find it amazing that people are like, I can't believe everyone should watch Game of Thrones. It's like, no, 10 years ago, if someone said, oh, there's going to be a show about dragons and like a mythical land and all of that, they'd be like, well, that is for nerds. That's But now, for some reason, that seems like a mainstream opportunity to make a show like this. So now everyone's like, everyone should like it. It's like, no, it's a really specific thing.
Yeah.
And it is brilliant, and you are missing out, but that's fine. It comes on Now TV straight after it's been on in the States. So I think it goes out at the same time, maybe. So like 2 a.m. on the Sunday night. So I get up early on Monday to watch it.
You're part of that gang then.
Yeah. So I get up early on Monday to watch it.
How early is early?
No, I mean early for a comedian, like 8 a.m.
Okay.
My girlfriend's getting ready for work in the next room, and she said to me the other day, she was like, "You need to be quieter when you're watching that because some people are still asleep." So I'm like in my flat screaming. Like there's a couple of things that happen in this. It was a really good episode this week, and I ended the episode. She'd gone by this point. Luckily, I was on my knees in front of the television, like with tears in my eyes, screaming.
Fuck, really?
Yeah, it's the best show.
No show has brought, not since I was over the age of 5. No show has taken me past the edge of my seat.
Okay, well, what do you watch then? What's your big like box set show that you enjoy?
Do you know what I'm grinding through right now? An enjoyable grind.
Yeah.
May I say is I'm actually watching all of the Star Treks. I've actually finished watching the original series. Okay. Just completed the Next Generation. I'm on Deep Space Nine. Yeah. The second season now. That isn't the kind of show that it might bring half of my arse to the edge of my seat. That's about it, and then I'm back because that's
because there's not a huge narrative arc, so it's episodic. So you're not, of course, you're not going to get that with that. Have you seen Star Trek Discovery yet?
No, I'm waiting for that. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going to work all the way through.
So that's huge. I'm not a Star Trek guy apart from Star Trek Discovery because that's when they take on like the big narrative arc stuff.
Yeah,
and it's massive. You'll love that, I think.
Is that the one that's set before all of the ones that I'm watching now?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. All right. And you're into that bit then? So
I like that.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
But it didn't make me get on my knees and well up.
You were welling?
Oh, yeah, but bearing in mind, I was watching this the day after the marathon. So I was my emotions were on the surface. So you finish the marathon and running 26 miles and then you're just a bit like, then everyone's cheering and that's overwhelming enough. I then went and had my first booze for 6 weeks, which immediately raises the emotional stakes, and then watched Endgame, and then less than 12 hours later watched that episode of Game of Thrones. So I was, I'm like a crisp now. I'm all out of tears.
Yeah, an emotional wreck.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say partly because your knees were sore and you were on your knees. Yeah. That's why that's why you're crying as well. But
possibly.
Fair enough.
It was all mixed up.
Avengers Endgame, thoughts on that? That's the longest ever Netflix series, I feel like. That's what the Marvel films have been.
Absolutely stunning. I thought it was amazing. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
I thought it was incredible.
I think what
is the pun intended, the end game on spoilers? When are we allowed to start talking about shit?
I like to give it a month.
A month?
I like to give it a month. I don't want to take the fun out of some people. Some people just can't get to the cinema. Maybe a couple of weeks. I don't know. Right, I'm not on Twitter the day it comes out.
Absolutely not. No, I wouldn't do that. But I think maybe a couple of weeks. I think if you really, really want to see it, then a couple of weeks.
Can you give a teaser to a spoiler for our listener? I think that's fair enough.
A teaser to a spoiler?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just really don't. I would, if I give a teaser to a spoiler and it turns out the teaser to the spoiler is a spoiler in itself, I can't be responsible for that.
Wow, we're going down a rabbit hole.
It's really good.
Teasy spoilers. But yeah, that's really, really good. And I'm interested to see what comes next from the universe, man. Disney are doing very well at the moment.
They are.
Yeah.
They've got their thing starting, right? Their new streaming service.
They've got their streaming service that's going to... Basically, they've pulled back loads of content that was on Netflix.
Yeah.
They've got loads of in-house stuff. They're obviously doing all the live-action versions of, like, The Lion King and other films like that. As a comedian...
Aladdin looks rubbish, though.
I'm a big Will Smith fan, and I'm struggling to support him. Yeah. That genie looks ropey as... It's 2019, man. Come on. And it's not like they're lacking the budget. I love Disney content. And they've got money for it as well. So I kind of saw the trailer. I was like,
it looks a bit cheap, right?
Little bit cheap.
And the guy playing Jafar looks like he's just read the script just before they've started. He's like the sound man reading in or something.
I reckon that's what happened. I reckon Jafar's sick. Who should we... Gaffer looks great. Yeah, mate, stick this on.
Have a quick look at this.
Go. Yeah, there you go. Saves money in the production as well. There you go. As a comedian, like, how's the streaming world kind of helping you, or how is that different for you? Because I feel like 10 years ago, comedians in your position were in a very different situation when it came to sharing their content. Yes. It affects everyone in different ways.
Yeah, I think it's big. I think it just opens up another avenue to promote yourself. So it used to be all about telly and stuff, but now I think there's a lot of people doing great stuff with streaming services. There's a lot of people doing great stuff just on their own, just through Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and things. I think there's so many opportunities for people to just go direct to source, and that really works for a lot of people. And people are like actually selling tickets to live shows based off videos they put on Facebook, which is incredible. You never imagine that would happen. So I think it's just about broadening the opportunities to get your face out there. It's not all about gatekeepers at television now.
Yeah.
Although I love the gatekeepers very much, and thank you for letting me do stuff, and please continue.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
Thank you, gatekeepers.
Please follow me on Twitter.
Thank you, gatekeepers.
Yeah. So how do you use it then? Are you the kind of, because it's great knowing that I can, as well as watch you, it's good to know that I can kind of find clips and share those and share what I like with other people. Do you find that helps you as well? Are you kind of keen on do you have to create extra content really, do you find? Because stuff can get out there.
I think I'm from the previous generation who's too lazy to do that. I think I do rely on the TV stuff still, but I think sharing the content definitely helps. Of course it does, because that's how people communicate now as well, tagging each other in clips and sharing things. So it definitely helps.
Okay, and is like the Netflix special or streaming special, is that like the thing for comedians now? Is that a really big and important thing for yourself? Yeah,
I think so. Doing something on a streaming service is always good. I think also because it used to be DVDs and then it was Blu-rays for like a month. And now I think streaming's here for a long time. I think I can't see anything more convenient than that.
Yeah, it's just the TVs are getting bigger now. So 8K is the big thing that we're kind of getting slapped 8K, yeah. If 4 wasn't enough, double your... Yeah.
That seems too much.
It's just... You need a really big room to enjoy 8K.
Don't you think now we've got to the point where the better the quality of something you're watching, the shitter it looks?
Well, there was a massive uproar from like Lord of the Rings enthusiasts when they shot it in like 60 frames or something like that. People are going, you can see tape and yeah, it's like, imagine like there was a show, if you're under the age of 20, called Crossroads, which was notoriously shit in quality, right, on TV. If you were to try and film that in HD, you would see everything. It would just look like people performing in front of a, cereal box with houses on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. You want to feel like you're watching a film or a TV show. You don't want to feel like you're there, standing behind the camera.
Yeah.
Because it loses all of the magic of it, I think.
I think so. I mean, I watched some HD remasters of Star Trek The Next Generation, and I was seeing shit that I was not meant to see. You know what I mean? So it was like boom poles in reflections, cameramen and lighting. So yeah, you're right, man. I mean, for me, I just want to watch. For me, it's just watching great content. So sometimes I feel like there's this massive like sort of emphasis around 8K and blah, blah, blah. But loads of people consume stuff on an iPad.
Yeah. And to be honest, when it comes to comedy, I think you don't need that.
Get away with it, man.
You don't need full HD. It's like if you can't see it live, you don't need to see it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. Right. So off the menu podcast even. I'd love to hear more about it. I mean, I think it's a great concept, but I'd love you to share that concept with our listener as well.
So I do a podcast called Off Menu with James Acaster, fellow comedian. And it's about food, essentially. We have a guest and talk through their dream meal, starter, main, side, drink, dessert. And they obviously prep a little bit and bring in and we talk about each course. And that's the basis of it, but it skews off into stupid conversations on each course and can go on for a couple of hours. But and James plays a genie waiter, but that's barely mentioned.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. The different ways that he's rubbed.
Yeah. Different ways he's out or what he's wearing, and there's always a big explosion at the start. That it's not a special effect. He makes that with his mouth. A little peek there behind the curtain.
What? I'm sorry.
So yeah, we talk about food all the time anyway.
Yeah.
So we just thought there must be something in this. If we enjoy it that much, there must be a way of getting it out there, and it has worked. And we're sort of surprised quite how quickly people have taken to it.
Everybody loves talking about food. As a former fellow large lad, I love the food. I love the food. So it's great hearing you kind of digress and talk about. I mean, it's like you just said, you start off with something and then you kind of take it in a really interesting direction.
Yeah.
Then, we're talking about food. Yeah, a little bit of food, and then you crack on again. It's sick.
And we've been lucky with really good guests as well. Actually, of like a really good range of people who've brought in some awful menus. People who have no idea about food or don't even like food. Those are often the best guests because we can just absolutely tear them apart.
What's some of the worst that you had?
Joel Dommett was the worst. Joel Dommett was so bad. I mean, he's still being trolled online because of it. And it's the only time I'd ever advocate trolling someone on the internet.
I've not got this episode. Can you give us a little taster of this?
Right. Well, Joel Dommett, if you don't know him, is a comedian and is ridiculously in shape, like proper ripped CrossFit guy. So obviously, like, his approach to food is
Clinical,
chicken
right?
breast, and all of this. And I think he tried to come up with a menu that he thought people might like, but it got to the drink and it was already bad. And the drink, I made a joke. I was like, "Oh, okay, you're probably gonna say protein shake, aren't you, Joel?" And it was a strawberry protein shake. His drink.
If I go into any restaurant or anyone's house and they serve me that as a dessert, I think we're going to stop being friends.
Yeah, it's awful.
That's not cool.
So, and the whole menu was bad. So that one's worth listening to if you want to see us get really angry, because we're friends with Joel, so we just immediately tore into him. But we had Victoria Coren Mitchell as well, who's brilliant, really, really funny. It's a really good episode, and her menu is very plain because she just doesn't get food really. She's not into like fancy food. Really plain, but she's so strident about it. She's so like, I don't understand why anyone would want anything other than this. And we don't know her as well. So originally we were like, yeah, fine. And then you hear James getting angrier and angrier throughout the episode, and then he just explodes at the end.
I love it, man. I love it. Off menu, check that podcast out. What's your relationship with food like? Like, what do you like to eat at the moment?
Oh, I mean, during the marathon training, I've been eating like an absolute bin. What I should have done is worked out a good sort of carb heavy but healthy diet so I could get around the marathon. What I did was use the training as an excuse to just eat rubbish.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
I thought that was the rules, right? If you're going to run 26.2 miles, you have license to eat what the fuck you want.
And I did. I really did. So yeah, I mean, that's my relationship with food at the moment, is trying to get back to some sort of normal routine with it, because I'm not training anymore. Oh,
but you're still in the kind of I'm training mindset when it comes to eating food. So you're like, I will have 7 pizzas.
Oh yeah. Also today, I thought I'm going to have to get back on it today, but then I just thought, well, it's 2 days after the marathon. I'm probably still burning calories.
Yeah, 100%.
That's how it works.
Yeah,
right? You're still burning calories. Yeah. I'm still in a deficit for a week.
So like with the marathon training and stuff, because I understand a little bit, like you do loads of running, you slowly do more and more, and then you taper off again.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Is that because you have to have enough energy?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just about resting and making sure that you're completely fresh, but also ready to run that distance.
Yeah.
Because I think if you weigh yourself out, you're not going to, and you don't run the full distance in training. So the highest I got up to was 22 miles in training.
So when you actually run on the day, you're pushing your body past.
So when you get to 22 miles after that, it's just the furthest you've run in the last few months.
Did you hit the dreaded wall?
No, not this time. I had an awful time the first time I did it. I got a really bad cramp at 22 miles and had to basically run like a can-can dancer for the rest of the thing because I was trying to stretch and run. And I avoided that this time. So that was fine. And the last couple of miles, I thought I sprinted, but I definitely didn't. But I loved it. I loved the last 2 miles this time.
Fair enough. You've almost made me want to... No, I'm not going to do it.
Do a half marathon. They're really fun.
Is that like a half pint? Because when people say that to me, that's not really fun.
Yeah.
And I want to do the whole thing. Oh, maybe you're onto something.
Yeah, but whenever I have a half pint, I'll just have a half, and then I immediately have another half. That won't happen on the day of a half marathon. You want to get to the end of that and go, I'm going to go back
and have the other half of the pint. Fuck that. All right, cool. So onto your angles. It's written here that Greg Davies mentioned your downstairs maintenance.
Oh yeah,
I just want to get some clarification on it.
That's such a funny thing to have on a laptop in front of you. Just go. It says here on.
His downstairs maintenance was briefly mentioned in Greg Davies'
Oh, that's
Netflix
really
special,
funny. It's a great bit of research.
Angles, promised.
Yeah,
again,
a few more angles. So yeah, Greg in his Netflix special. Which is very funny. You should watch it. He's got a bit about trimming his downstairs area, and specifically credits me as the person who let him know that that's something that people do. Because I think we were having a conversation. I used to tour with him.
Yeah.
And I made some reference to doing it, and he laughed at me for ages, being like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's ridiculous. I can't believe you do that." And then he mentioned it to someone else, and they were like, "Yeah,
wow."
Like loads of men do that. Like it's pretty standard.
Yeah.
And then he's got a very funny story about trying to do it. Yeah. But the problem was when he was touring that, I was also touring at the same time, doing like the little spaces in the massive theatres he was doing. And I'd arrive at the gigs and he'd been on a few days before. And like the technician would be there and say, "Oh, we had Greg Davies in here the other day," and then they'd look at me and be like, "You're thinking about my pubes."
Or lack of.
Or lack of. Not complete lack of. I mean, we don't want to go into too many details, but you can't go.
I mean, I mean, to be fair, I've just come back from a sunny place.
A technology podcast, but do you want to talk about
let's go
electric
there,
razors?
Let's go there because I'd say early on in the How to Kill an Hour days, we were offered, and I've moaned about this on the podcast, or if you're hearing this again, if you're hearing this for the first time, you will understand my pain. We got offered a shaver called a Philips One Blade, right?
Right.
Covered it on the show, and it was designed specifically for your face.
Right.
It was a face trimmer for your face. For your face, it is the best for every part of every angle of your face
sure.
would be covered.
Yeah.
And I remember trying it out and thinking, well, it did all right. I get a couple of neck hairs, just a couple of sprouters. Got those. I thought, well, I might as well do my chest. Got around the nips. Carried on going down, and I was like, this is fucking great. This should be called the one and all, or whatever. It's the everything shaver. I shaved my balls with it. It was great. Everything but my toe hairs were done, yeah?
It should be called the body buzzer.
The body buzzer.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Great name. Should be in marketing. And then a couple of years later, it's now called the Philips One Blade Face and Body.
Yeah.
Where's my? I'll take a 0.5% off Philips. Those are worldwide sales.
Well, you're a pioneer, Marcus. You went where no one else dared to go.
That shaver went where no one else dared to. Well, not many people dare to go. Actually. Yeah. So and I've just come back from a hot place. So yeah, I like to give it the full.
You go full.
Pretty low. Yeah. I take the One Blade. I still use the original face one. Just shaving it down.
Well, how to kill that's a great way to kill an hour in a hotel.
Is it?
If you're bored,
you take time with it then. If it's an hour.
I take time. My coiffeur.
Yeah.
Use scissors, foams.
Oh wow. Do you put on some sensual music
Shapes.
as well?
I've got a Nike swoosh down there at the moment.
Just do it, baby.
Yeah.
That's right. You ever had the accidental gooch nip? I nipped my gooch the other day before holidays.
I've never nipped my gooch, unfortunately.
It's an interesting pain because you just don't want to do it really. No. You want to be super careful, but I think I don't know. I just wasn't paying attention.
It's probably quite a low moment, I'd imagine. When you nip your gooch.
Yeah, the shower afterwards as well is a little bit sore as well. But loads of salty water on the beach on holiday.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's good as new now.
Go for a swim and scream at the top of your voice. People sitting on the beach going, someone's nipped his gooch.
Classic gooch nip sound. So what, are you like a whizzing it all off like me, or are you just like
keep it trimmed down?
Keep it like a regular trim.
I don't want to whiz it all off.
Yeah, I'm like a pretty low. Weird. And then I forget about it, and then one day go, oh fuck, I'll need to sort that out. Which leads us on to another question actually that we like to ask quite a lot of our guests. Now that we've warmed up with that, I feel like you're going to be honest with this, and maybe we'll get something slightly different out of you, because every guest that we've had on the show that's answered this question has given us their own take.
Okay.
Now, I'd just like you to visualise that you've had a very good... Oh, this is perfect. You've been eating very well over the last few weeks. So I presume you've been putting a lot of food into the factory that is your body.
Sure.
And a lot has been coming out the other end.
Oh, yeah. So
let's think about one of those good fibrous shits that you've had.
This is right up my street, by the way.
Great stuff.
Not a lot of podcasts will cover this sort of thing, and this convo is right up my street.
It's the important shit that we're dealing with right here.
Pubes to shit.
Yeah, there we go. Podcast name in the back. So you've had a great shit.
Yeah.
Are you feeling nice and light? Time to wipe your ass.
Right.
Are you now? Before I say this, people don't know the other type of person exists until I ask this question.
Okay.
Do you stay seated or do you stand up when you wipe your ass?
Look, it is a good question. I can't believe there's people who stand up.
How do you feel if you're in the room with a stander right now?
Are you a stander? Billy, are you a stander? Mate, that's so weird. Have you done that your whole life?
Yeah.
Oh God. How? You're going to have to take me through it. How do you do it?
You just do your business and then stand up and then...
Yeah, but surely you sit down because you can it naturally spreads everything, right?
That's what I'm saying.
If you stand, what you're doing is you're putting the bread back together before you've emptied the sandwich.
And you've got a shit sandwich.
It's a 50-50 split, believe it or not.
Well, no, there's no split at all.
No.
Yeah, so we've put the stats out there, and it's kind of come back like 55-45. It bounces up to 50-50. There are standers around us. So technically, in this room, half of us potentially, statistically, could be standers.
And you wonder why Brexit went the way it did. I bet if you looked at the stats in Brexit, everyone who voted Leave stands to wipe.
100%. 100%. 100%. Phil?
There's anomalies.
Yeah.
The exception that proves the rule is Billy.
Yeah, and I mean, there's other subsections in this. There's front and back wipers. I mean, I reach
insane.
around. I reach around the back. I mean,
There's people who go through and under.
Rick Edwards says he holds his balls up and then wipes away.
You have mimed Rick Edwards having massive balls there.
He did say he has quite big balls, actually. He said,
Right, but that's weird as well to go up and under.
I just think it's way too much effort to why would you want to move shit around that shouldn't have shit near it instead of just going to the rear and wiping?
Everything is designed to sit and reach.
Yeah.
So reach around the back, isn't it? Like the toilet.
Our arms are long
toilet.
enough.
Yeah, our arms are long enough. That's perfect. We've evolved to do that.
100%.
And yet you've got people who are standing up or lifting their balls out the way.
Fuck those.
Crazy. So hang on. So Rick Edwards and people like Rick. I'm not just saying it's just Rick.
Or is it? I think Matt Edmondson's Matt Richardson.
Yeah.
Is he a front wiper as well?
He's a front wiper. Yeah.
He's a front wiper as well.
He's an absolute animal. That boy.
Disgusting boy.
So, as in they're scooping it all towards.
So no, I think it's not a back to, it's front to back. So they're pushing away towards their anus from the front.
That's just insane. Like that is insane. Like, but if they were reaching under, surely the natural thing would be to start at the back and bring it forward.
But that's bringing the shit to the balls.
That's awful as well. That's obviously awful as well.
Yeah.
Right, but that doesn't even make sense to start there and push everything back.
I can't get around the standing bit.
Well, obviously, people who stand to wipe their asses should all be killed. Sorry.
Thanos. And that's what happens at the end of Endgame.
Honestly, if at the end of Infinity War you found out that when he snapped his fingers, it was just people who stand up to wipe their ass, I'd be like, absolutely fine. We don't need Endgame.
Done. I'll be with that. Maybe that's what he was thinking. You never know. Thanos was just like, I've had enough.
Yeah, that's horrible to find that out about Spider-Man.
Oh, man.
That he stands up to wipe.
Yeah. Killing time. Apart from wiping your ass the correct way, how do you like to do that then, mate?
I'm good at killing time, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comedians who'll tell you, they're like, I can't. Whenever I'm not working, I just need to write. I need to write something. I get anxious when I'm not working. That's not me. I'll kill time. Like I said, Game of Thrones, I'm currently rewatching Game of Thrones at the same time as watching the current series.
Oh, wow. So what series are you at now that you're
I'm at series 3 and series 8
at the same damn time?
Yeah.
Sick,
right?
You beast. Why are you doing this? What does it do?
I was watching this most recent series and I'm really enjoying it, but I was also thinking, it's because it's getting towards the climax of the whole thing. It's missing something that I liked when it was first established, so I'm going to go back and watch it again. I should be doing more work, but being on tour with a show that's sort of ready and you're enjoying and you're like adding to naturally on stage, sometimes you've got a few extra hours before a show in a hotel. Why not watch Game of Thrones? And I've just done all of The Sopranos as well.
Oh, that's classic though.
I'd never seen it.
Oh yeah. How was that?
I've never seen it. Amazing. It's pretty good. People should be talking about it.
I think people still don't really, really get down with The Sopranos. I like meeting someone who's like, I've just started The Sopranos. Oh my God. I'm like, yes, I love that feeling, man. Love it. The Wire as well. I feel that gets people. Did you do that yet?
I did. I've done The Wire. The Shield as well. I might start watching The Shield.
Not done. I'd like to do Shield.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
Okay, cool.
The Shield's amazing. Oz. Have you seen Oz?
Oz. Oh, I feel like Oz really set the tone for that kind of gritty TV. I think I used to watch it late night on Channel 4.
Yeah, I think these show late night on Channel 4.
Yeah.
I think that was HBO's like first proper drama where it was like feature length episodes. That and Deadwood were like the two. Yeah. So all of that stuff that will kill a lot of time for me.
Yeah. So big on the TV stuff.
Big on the TV stuff. I buy a lot of books and then don't read them.
Good pastime.
So that's a good pastime, is sort of moving books from place to place so they don't get in the way and then never reading them.
What have you bought recently and not read?
Oh, what is it? I bought some comic books actually. I've not even read the comic books I bought, which is pathetic. They're so easy to read. Yeah, I've got loads of them. I can't even remember the last book I bought. I just buy them and chuck them in the corner. I don't even read who they're by.
Oh, I love it when you go to someone's house and they're like, they've got this massive selection of books.
Yeah.
You always presume like, fuck, their knowledge is
Absolutely not.
Insane.
Check the spines. I've got shelves and shelves of books with unbroken spines. Perfect mint condition books.
And that's why I should never view your house in HD, because then I'll know.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Seen shit in SD. Do you know what I mean?
And the bathroom's covered in pubes. You'd see all of that as well.
I'll be like, yeah, good job.
Yeah.
Good job. That's a one blade job, That's a one. Good man. Yeah.
Are you still being sponsored by them? Because you're mentioning it a lot.
I'm not, but I need my fucking 1%, and I'm hoping this sort of, please, hi guys on the ball. Thank you very much.
I've found out that's not how companies work. If you've done it already, they're not going to. That always happens on the podcast where we'll mention a food stuff, and then afterwards be like, oh, we should have just waited.
A lot of bleeps on the podcast this week, then, Billy. A lot of bleeps then. You've also done some acting and stuff before. Like Almost Royal was fucking hilarious.
Oh, thank you, man. Cheers.
Like, I want more of it, right? But I understand with shows like this, it can be hard to do them again once people cotton on to you not being the character that you are.
Exactly, yeah. So it was all undercover in the sense that we were pretending to be members of the British royal family. So it was a very long form prank show, really. But even the second series we found difficult. I think, well, not we, I mean, the production crew, I didn't have to do any of the organising, found difficult to get contributors because you could just Google the character names and the first series would come up. Yeah. So we just about managed it, but I think any more than that would be tricky.
Do you ever fancy doing another character, kind of like Sacha Baron Cohen style as well?
Yeah, I'd do it.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah, but I think it was probably, that character was perfect for me to be able to, I'm self-aware enough to know that I'm quite posh and I know enough people who are posher than me to be able to dial it up and act like an absolute idiot.
It was like, I want one line that I love. I think it's like, yes, I've got a dishwasher. Her name's Maria. Or
yeah.
I was like, yes.
Yeah, I mean, the show was all about people's reactions, really. We were we went in fairly harmless, I don't think. So, like, Sacha Baron Cohen is amazing. Yeah. But his balls are huge. Again, I mean, I hope
bigger than Rick Edwards.
I hope he wipes.
Oh, fucking hell! You need a crane to lift those balls. We'll ask him when he's on. We'll ask him. Great having you on the podcast. Welcome to How to Kill an Hour. How big's your balls? There we go. Perfect.
But I think, like, quite often he's making a satirical point, so he goes in there to sort of show up like bigotry or stuff in the people the contributors, and our contributors were just people. We weren't going in there to make them look stupid or expose anything in their politics. So I think it was we went for the gentle angle of us being idiots. It was a lot of fun to make.
It looked like it was great fun. Like, what was a standout moment for you on the show?
Oh, so many. I mean, just getting to travel around the States with an amazing crew, and Amy Hoggart, who was in the show as well, is absolutely incredible. So that was a lot of fun. But we did things like, there's one of the episodes in the first series where I had to catch a catfish with my hands. And just doing stuff like that, and then just looking around and realising you're in Tennessee in a massive lake, and being told how to catch a catfish with your hands. Like, it's not. I didn't get up in stand-up comedy and think, I'll be doing that one day.
This wasn't on your forecast, your dream sheet, was it?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. So one thing that's always, like, whenever I read about you or see stuff about you, people always seem to bring up your diabetes. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be contrived and kind of go over stuff.
Go for it.
Like, it's a great thing to see you supporting JDRF and stuff like that. And do you want to tell us a bit about JDRF as well?
So JDRF are the Juvenile Diabetes Research Fund, who put money into one day finding a cure for type 1 diabetes. I'm a type 1 diabetic myself. And you say, like, people bring it up. I bring it up a lot as well because it's a gamble angle.
It's a gamble angle. Gamble angles. Yeah. Got to get the angles in.
Yeah, because I think as a stand-up, it's important to talk about, what's close to you and what's part of you and stuff. So I talk about that a lot. I try and do stuff for that charity a lot, but it's also, I use this joke a lot, but I will see that money eventually. So it does feel like a bit of a cheat charity-wise. It's not completely selfless because it is something that affects me.
I'm sure officially your accountant won't say it's a good idea, but off the record, like, can you palm that in? Good on you, son. So, like, what is type 1 diabetes? I really don't know. Like, usually when people have said in the past I'm diabetic, I'm like, oh yeah, cool, great, and I just don't want to pry. But what's the difference?
No, thank you for asking that question, because I think that a lot of people just wouldn't ask and then just carry on in their assumptions.
Right, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So, do you fold or scrunch the tissue paper when you're having a shit? Do you know what I mean?
Fold.
Yeah.
But
not scrunch. Well,
scrunch is a waste, man.
what do I do? God, we'll get back to that. I'm so sorry.
So
Fold and scrunch.
Type 1 diabetes means that my pancreas doesn't function, and what the pancreas does in muggles, such as yourself, I'm assuming, will release insulin whenever you eat something. It'll release insulin to counteract the rise in your blood sugar levels. So insulin reduces blood sugar level, and your body will be like perfectly balanced into, release enough insulin for the amount of food you've just had, and just maintains a stable blood sugar level. With me, it's not doing that, so I have to inject my own insulin. So when I eat, I have to estimate how much insulin I'll need to cover off the amount of carbs that I've had and things like that. So it's all about just trying to keep as steady a level of blood glucose in my system as possible. But it's so imperfect. It's such an imperfect science. So quite often you'll end up giving too much insulin, and then you have a low blood sugar level and you'll be all shaky and stuff and need to eat something, or not enough insulin, and then it goes high, and then you feel like really thirsty and dry, and you need to give more insulin to bring it back down. So it's just a constant management thing. So it's like having another job, really, just constantly managing this blood sugar level.
Way to kill an hour, basically.
Oh,
more.
God, a way to kill way more than an hour.
Yeah.
Way more than an hour.
So we're like type 1, the pancreas is just off in that respect.
Off.
It's not doing its job.
It's not doing its job.
Does it just chill there? Is it all right?
It's all right, yeah, it's just chilling.
Happy?
Yeah, just
Lazy
being late.
fuck.
Yeah,
Sort
exactly. Just
yourself
being,
out.
all the other organs are going, seriously, mate. Fucking
Get off your ass.
Yeah.
Do your job. He's like, to be fair, Ed's got it covered.
So, yeah, I think it's an autoimmune condition. So that basically means I think I got it because I had a really bad cold when I was like 13, a really bad sort of flu-y cold thing. And my immune system shut that down as it's supposed to, but then carried on and got the wrong signals and carried on killing stuff and ends up killing this enzyme in the pancreas that makes it work.
Shit.
Yeah. So that's the reason that you can get type 1. It can be genetic as well. It's not really like particularly defined how people get it. Okay. But you've got to draw the distinction between type 1 and type 2. Type 2 is sometimes caused by diet and lifestyle, not all the time. But I think sometimes people just hear diabetes and they're like, well, it's because you ate too much sugar.
You love the cake.
Yeah, so it's not, I think that is the case for a small percentage of type 2 diabetics. But
okay.
Yeah.
And what's the difference with type 2? So there's no difference in terms of the lack of function?
Yeah, there is. It's not that the pancreas doesn't produce insulin. It's, I think, quite often, and I'm not an authority on type 2 by any means, so apologies if I get this wrong. It's insulin sensitivity. So the pancreas might still be producing insulin, but it doesn't do what it's supposed to. So they can normally have like metformin, which is like a pill, which just increases in insulin sensitivity. So I don't know. It's all pretty. It gets pretty complicated after that, but that's the basics.
And are there other types? We won't divulge into those. Are there other,
I believe type 1.5 is like late adult onset type 1 diabetes, and also you can have gestational diabetes. Pregnant women can become type 1 diabetic for the duration of their pregnancy, and as soon as they give birth, they're not diabetic anymore.
Jeez.
Crazy, right?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Like, because honestly, in the past, I'm just like, oh, yeah, cool.
You can ask. I would say that if you do meet somebody who's a diabetic, and like you don't know what type they are or you want to know more about it, you can just ask rather than just go, oh, cool, I guess pudding's off the menu then.
Is that a Diet Coke for you then, I guess? Yeah. Crazy. So, it's a tech show. You must have some cool tech to handle your diabetes, and then what you got on you?
Well, I've kind of got some cool. There's more cool tech coming out. I've just started using this thing now and again because it's not available on the NHS at the moment. But I think we're going to try and work with them to maybe try and get this on the NHS. It's called a Dexcom G6.
Sounds fucking sick already.
It does, right?
All right, James Bond.
I've got like a little patch thing in my stomach here, which is like, it's a very thin like needle wire type thing just under the skin sitting there. And then on my phone, it tells me my blood sugar level reading and whether it's going up or going down or maintaining.
Real time?
Real time.
Sick. So that's no more kind of having to take samples and finger pricks?
No more finger pricks, yeah. Okay. And that's the first time they've managed that. I think with the last model, you needed to do finger pricks to calibrate it. But yeah, I think no more finger pricks. And I think it'd be very, very, very useful for parents of young kids who are type 1 who don't necessarily know what to do or they don't know the signs, and they can just look at that. Like, because I think especially with kids, if they're like sleeping, you can have like nighttime low blood sugar levels, and sometimes it won't wake you up, or so you need to be sure that they're doing all right. You can just check your phone, and so that would be an amazing thing if you can get it onto the NHS. But I think it might be a long time coming. But fingers crossed.
Yeah, man, fingers crossed for that, because I think stuff like that means you can obviously add alerts. That means you can just have an Apple Watch.
Exactly.
Or something,
you can do it on an Apple Watch.
Alarm go off.
Yeah.
Wicked. How important do you think it is for us to be using tech in ways like this? Because I feel like there's some great things that are breakthroughs.
Oh, yeah.
Like you just said, it's not on the NHS yet. Or I feel like sometimes it takes people like you have to highlight these things and kind of add a bit of pressure so that these things do get
definitely
to the public a bit earlier.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's so much tech out there that, and it feels like, certainly I can only speak for diabetes, that those things are being utilised. Like I was told when I was diagnosed, age 13, so 20 years ago, that there'd be a cure within 5 years, and I think people are still told that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a fucked up thing to say.
Yeah,
really.
But I think that's what people expect. They're like, the NHS expect there to be a cure at some point, because they're like, well, surely, because they've done so many amazing things and cured so many things that are way more complicated and sort of life-threatening than diabetes. But weirdly, it's my only conspiracy theory, Mark.
Yeah, I was going to say, welcome to the conspiracy.
It's my only conspiracy theory, and it's
where the money's at.
It's ridiculous that I believe this, but
go.
But I think that there's so much money in medicine and stuff like that surely there's an underground lab where there's a cured diabetic rat, and they're keeping it secret because they'll make more money off people in the long run.
100%, mate. There's even everyday cold and flu remedies. They're the ones. I mean, there's a pill I can take that makes my penis stand up without trying. You know what I mean? Come on.
There must be a pill you can take to lift your balls out the way while you're wiping your ass.
A pill that makes your knees stop working for 10 minutes after your shit, so you have to stay seated and wipe your ass.
There's people like Rick Edwards out there who has to lift his own balls after he's had a shit. Can we not please admit that there is a pill that can levitate his testicles out of the toilet? And that is not something I expected to say when I woke up today.
Welcome to the show. So are there any, I always ask people about this when I do get into stuff, are there any cool side effects? If there aren't, that's fine. Is there anything you're like,
side effects?
That's all right, I'll take that. Thank you very much.
I tell you what, lifestyle-wise, and I know I've talked about eating far too much recently, but I think maintaining a blood sugar level, it really helps you connect with your own body and work out what makes you feel healthy and what makes you doesn't. Jesus, it's bad for grammar. It's so like when I have a high blood sugar, I feel a bit tired and a bit rubbish, and I know how to counteract that. And it's just maintaining a healthy diet, working out, trying to stay active. So I think it helps you understand why that's important, and it probably pushes you towards a healthier lifestyle because you've got an actual numerical reading on how you're doing every day.
And you said it, you're measuring carbs and stuff as well. So you're starting to measure your food intake, which a lot of people, and there's actually a lot of research which shown there's been like two groups, similar sexes and ages. One of them was asked to just live their life. And the other was asked to write down everything they ate, everything they drank. They lost weight, they smoked less, and they drank less just by measuring stuff. So, if you're measuring stuff every day, just make, like you said, you're hyper aware.
Well, now, this is a cool side effect. So for a while, I didn't really look after stuff properly. I just lived my life because it was diagnosed when I was a teenager, and it's so difficult to get teenagers to do anything. So
really, so you like fucking it?
Well, I did all the basic stuff. Like I did the stuff that you're supposed to do. Like I injected and I tested now and again, but just not nearly enough, and didn't maintain it properly, really. But then really got into it and like really, made it a mission to get on top of things. So for a while, I'd be like carb counting by like weighing things. Really, really going for it and making sure I was very exact. But now I think I can estimate carbs by sight a lot of the time.
Superpower.
Right?
Carb man. Yeah.
Yeah, not particularly helpful in terms of like the Avengers. I don't think that...
better than Hawkeye, mate.
I reckon better than Hawkeye.
Being honest,
Although he had a very cool haircut in Endgame.
Still think
I think I'm going to go and ask for a Hawkeye from my barber.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is that a thing, do you reckon?
I don't know. It is now. I'm going to go and ask for a Hawkeye.
That's going to be an interesting angle, the hair angle as well. A Hawkeye. Yeah. Would you walk around with a bow and arrow as well, Jeremy Renner style?
Yeah.
Interesting. So, you can look at carbs and be like,
Yeah.
that amount.
Yeah, I can vaguely work out the grams.
That's good. Yeah, I have to measure that stuff. Like, I think when I was trying to lose weight, the biggest thing for me was just measuring stuff, like prepping stuff.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much the kind of like, hey, you know, I'm really trying hard. It was just kind of doing all that thinking, putting it all in boxes, and then being like, right, I've done all the thinking.
Did you do the full meal prep in little boxes and stuff?
Yeah, man, because it was just easy for me. Eat the box.
Yeah. You ate the box as well?
Every 3-4 times a day.
That adds calories, Marcus, if you're going to eat the box as well.
Yeah, but plastic, you know, just goes right through.
Yeah, that's true.
It's cool. Yeah, so I was just eat what's in the Tupperware. That was it every single day, and it just helped me get through it, man.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, need to employ that again. And had a good few weeks, you know what I mean? So what have we got forthcoming? I know you got 30 more tour dates.
Yeah, loads more tour dates in October onwards until the end of the year. So that's keeping me busy.
Is that your main focus at the moment? It's quite intense, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, like I say, this is winding down a bit. So I've got a few months and doing some festivals and that sort of thing. Not doing the Edinburgh Festival this year, but doing like comedy at like Reading and Leeds and Download and things like that. So it'll be fun. That would be fun. I'm also filming a show on May the 12th at the Leicester Square Theatre. So that'll be on a streaming service at some point this year, I believe.
Do we know which? Are we allowed to say?
I do, but I'm not going to say.
Okay, fair enough.
Just keep your ear to the ground. Follow me on social media and I will let everyone know when I'm allowed to.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. So that's going to be like a large portion of this touring show at the moment, but then also loads of other bits from previous shows that I've not because I've not recorded a special before, so I just get to do an absolute best of.
Nice. Look forward to that, man. How do you feel about having your first special out there?
I'm excited.
It's like a milestone, I feel like.
I think
it's a big thing.
I think so. Yeah, hopefully people like it, and I think they will. There's absolutely solid gold on there, mate.
Yeah.
I mean,
all
feel free about how I wipe my ass, that sort of thing.
I mean, feel free to put that in. I mean, feel free. You're more than welcome. Probably, yeah. I don't know. You might be surprised. You know, there'll be a large section of your audience that stand up to wipe their ass.
Well, they can stand up and leave the theatre. I'm not having those people watch me. I'd rather have a half-empty room.
Nice. Before we let you go, the metal band story.
Yes,
we've heard about you quite a lot. Are you a fan of metal still?
Yeah, absolutely. Big fan. Yeah. You look suspicious.
Ever think about getting the band back together?
No, absolutely not.
Great name for a band. Please share that.
Tethered Priest.
Great.
Pretty good name, right?
I just would love to be in the room for that brainstorming session.
I don't think it was. I think I came up with it and then took it to them.
Yeah.
I think this was all. I designed a logo as well. During maths.
Oh, great. So it was really accurate. It was really good circles and stuff. Was it on the maths paper?
Oh God, yeah. I used a compass.
Yeah.
The whole thing, a set square. That's what those set squares are for, apparently, designing metal logos.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, fact. Yeah.
No, I love metal. So that's one of the. I'd try and go and see more live music now.
Yeah.
Sort of rein in I try not to gig like every night of the week like I used to. Just go out there and have some time to enjoy life as well.
Yeah, I hear that.
Go and see some horrible music.
Who's good on the metal scene right now? Because that is not my forte, I'll be honest with you.
Who's good? Who's released? I tell you what, I keep a little list of albums I've really enjoyed this year.
For those of you that can't see, obviously it's a massive list that he's just whipped out. This list is actually enormous. Not because
this is my album of the year 2019 list.
Cool. Oh wow! Okay.
And we've only got a few on there at the moment. Big shout out to Venom Prison.
Great, good
British. There's a lot of cool things happening in British heavy music. Venom Prison are absolutely amazing. Ithaca as well.
All right.
Pup, they're a little, they're not a metal band, they're a punk band. You can go and check them out.
Cool.
Inter Armour are another band that have released an incredible metal album this year. So there's loads of stuff happening, especially like, you can check out something like Holy Raw Records, who are a record label in the UK, who release like heavy and interesting music. And there's a lot of really cool stuff happening.
Cool.
I get obsessed with it.
No, I can tell you're really interested in it, man. I love hearing about what people's musical preferences. I feel like it's like I love the fact nowadays as well. No one's like, oh, this is my guilty little thing. Everyone's like, no, this is what I listen to, and I fucking love it. I love Mr. Blobby. Yeah, I love his album. It went to #1 for a reason.
Yeah, look, Blobby's got some solid tracks.
Fuck yeah. I mean, lyrically, there's some work to be done.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's lyrically monotonous, but
I mean, he couldn't really speak properly, so whatever.
He's working with what he's got.
He works work with the word blobby so well. Blobby or blobby? You know what I mean? It's great. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you killing some time with us. We're not being dickheads, listener, by the way, by not inviting you to the Leicester Square show because that's sold out, right? I've been told.
I think it's sold out. I mean, it's always worth checking with them. Check with the Leicester Square Theatre. There might be returns.
Halfway through the show when you tell people to fuck off.
Yeah. Look, if you wipe sitting down, come and hang out, and in the interval there might be a way of you getting in.
But they can find. Everyone can find all of the details for your future dates, right?
Yeah.
Where should we go for those?
edgamble.co.uk. Go and check it out there, or on my social media at @agamble comedy, which is Instagram and Twitter.
Nice, consistent. We appreciate that here.
Absolutely. I don't know what other social medias there are, but I'm not really on them.
Snaps and all that sort of stuff.
I tried.
What's your favourite then? What's your favourite social media? Where are you active?
Probably Twitter's where I'm most active, but I think my favourite is Instagram. My favourite as a consumer is Instagram.
Yeah.
Like I like looking at people's pictures, but Twitter's horrible most of the time. Instagram is much more difficult to see abuse.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Instagram is where everyone's having the hashtag great times.
Yeah,
That's what it
exactly.
is, yeah.
And I like that, even though it's a lie. I like it. I want to live in the lie.
At least you know what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Are you in the Insta stories or just like...
No, I'm bad at Insta stories. So many comedians do this thing where they like just talk down their own camera about like what they're up to. I can't. I'd be too mortified to do that.
Really?
Just like sitting in your room going, "Here's what I've got coming up." It's like, yeah, I couldn't do it.
You just did it. It was great.
Yeah, but I'm talking to you. We're having a discussion. That's fine. Look, and all power to those people. I think it's a great tool for promotion. And if you could do it, I just got far too much shame to do something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
I might try it. I'm going to try it.
Yeah, I mean, on your knees in front of Game of Thrones, that would have made a fucking epic story.
Yeah,
that would have been great.
Yeah, epic story of a grown man loses his mind.
Great. That's a headline. I would have made it to the papers. I love it. No, but thank you very much for coming on to How to Kill an Hour. Thank you very much for hearing the lovely Ed Gamble. Don't forget, head to howtokillanhour.com/news to join our newsletter. And also, whilst you're at it, front and center of the podcast app for Apple. Hey, they rate us because we rate us as well. Thank you for killing some time with myself. I've been Marcus Bronzy.
Oh, I've been Ed Gamble.
Yes, and Billy is still a standard dirty boy.
Ugh.
Cheers.